You're he, you're he, you're he, you're he, you're he, you're he. Back again, back again. Smooth Sunday, triple S, triple S, triple S. You don't know. Going over the Black Sheep researcher, aka Paul, what the flock. We was just over at the bar, right? We was playing some of his stuff at the bar. But I thought, you know what? I can't do him like that. Not the bar. I gotta bring it over to, the main stage, center stage. It is my brother Paul after all, right? Have to come better than that, London. I know, I'm sorry. So here we are now. We're over at the main stage. It was over a rebuttal bar. Let me go ahead and where is that? Okay, give me a sec. I'll throw that link down there. It permits me to. Give me a second. I'm not even a mod on my own channel. Madness. Somebody throw that down for me. But yeah, all right, cool. We're back at it again, right? We're back at it again. Here we are. Cool. Let's get into this. Let's get into this. But first of all, before I even get into that, I want to say shout out to Jay Dreamers for yesterday. That was dope, Jay. If you're listening, or if you hear this back on the replay, I appreciate you, bro. That was dope. You came through, gave me some of your time, and yeah, you cooked. You connect some dots for me, so I appreciate that a lot, bro. Appreciate that a lot. Been watching you from afar with your work, and yeah, you're spot on. You're spot on. That was great. That was awesome. Appreciate you. Anytime, you're welcome back. Anytime. Anytime. Matter of fact, I need to get around two, part two, ASAP. ASAP. All right. It's only right. We both cover the same things, so it's only right. Saute in the building. Yeah, hope you lot enjoyed yesterday. We had the man himself, Jay Dreamers, in the building. Woo. Cold. Yeah, such a good time. Facts. What is that? Is that the rebuttal bar? Okay, yeah, that must be the rebuttal bar. Thank you, S. Oh, yeah, I'm guessing that is salutes to that. Thank you. That's the second channel for those of you who's not subscribed to that. If you catch it on the replay, this is the rebuttal bar, which you see on the screen now. That's my second channel. And my moderator S, Day One S, is gonna, provide it, which he did. Thank you. So yeah, salute to you people in the building. Salute, chills. Saute, Bear Jew, CC. Much love to you folks, man. Happy smooth Sunday, right? Happy smooth Sunday. Brilliant stuff.
You're being watched.
发现一个没见过的这些东西。
We often find new things here and we ask the experts, what is this? And the experts say, we have studied this for decades and we have no idea. We are all very excited to find something new.
也很兴奋。
Tourists are also discovering these sinkholes. They want to dangle from the sheer limestone cliffs, carved over centuries by flowing rivers.
The sheer size of these cliffs, just look at the amount of it that's there. It's just breathtaking. Like, was this really solid before? Was this really solid to begin with? Right? I don't think so. It doesn't look like it was solid to begin with. It doesn't.
Now visible after the land finally caved in. This is one of the best ways down into the Chiang Kung, or heavenly pits, as they're known. It offers a sense of adventure, brings much needed tourism, to this poorest province of Guangxi. However, scientists are worried and they need to preserve these heavenly pits for future generations. For now, only a few of the sinkholes are open to visitors.
It's very cool. It's the first time I try here, and next time I will try to another place. It will be first time, but not the last time.
The discovery of so many sinkholes has changed Faye's life. He now guides both tourists and scientists.
尽量的不要破坏这个天坑。
We should try not to damage the sinkholes and preserve the ecosystems around the caves. We should limit traces left by human activities as much as we can.
Researchers hope these unique ecosystems hold clues about how our planet has changed and how rare species can be preserved. Now it's about finding a balance between badly needed research and badly needed revenue.
So hopefully those clips has painted a picture about caves, chambers, hidden world. You know, there's been talk for centuries, millennia, about Hollow Earth. But I like to look at it as a cave within a cave within a cave. All these chambers, and some of the roofs have fell in to show, like sinkholes, these paradises. So hopefully that's coming across. So when we're talking about paradises and different things like this, being under the ground, I couldn't help but mention Agartha. Now, could Eden be Agartha? Agartha is a legendary advanced underground civilization said to inhabit a hidden kingdom deep within the earth, often associated with the Hollow Earth theory and located beneath Central Asia or the Himalayas. Believed to have once thrived on the surface, it supposedly retreated underground due to the surface world violence and will emerge again when humanity achieves peace and spiritual balance. The concept was popularized by occultists in the 19th century. Alexander St. Yves Deladre or something like that, who described it as a vast realm with tunnels connecting the world, ruled by a king of the world who secretly influences surface affairs. So all this talk, you saw many channels talking about, oh well, the UK is connected to Turkey with underground tunnels. They go everywhere. So if this is the case, these are just showing, they're just talking about this hidden world, this Hollow Earth, but I like to call it a cave, my cave theory. Hence why the term, the popular, you know, the word caveman, because we come from a cave. So usually, you know, I like
Caveman. Yeah, I see it right there.
etymology. So I wanted to look at the etymology of Agartha, and the exact etymology is uncertain, with one theory suggesting it's basically derivation of the Norse mythical location Asgard, with the additional A likely added to give it a Sanskrit feel due to its fit with the initial setting in India and the Himalayas. But this is where the other one got me. Another interpretation suggests a connection to the Arabic word gar, meaning cave. We just talked about caves.
Nice. You see that? So he was saying maybe a golfer is inside of a cave, right? But when he breaks down the word, gar actually means cave, right? Meaning is cave. But they just threw the A on it, right? Additional, right? To give the Sanskrit feel to fit the initial settings in India. Just so the A is just fitted to suit somebody, right? Pronunciation and all those things. Agartha. But it's really Gartha. Gartha. Not Agartha. It's Gartha. Brilliant, Paul.
And although, yes, a hollow earth would be like a giant cave, this is what I'm trying to get at. We live in a cave. So the Agartha, they say, is from Gar, meaning cave, or the name of a place in Hindu and Buddhist myths, though the term was largely popularized in Western occultism through the work of who we just mentioned. Now, what got me is, let's have a look at the Agartha ourselves. So if you go off what they say, meaning Gar means cave. So Agar, so a cave, and it leaves ha, H-A. So, as you know, I'm not saying this is true, I'm just looking for things that connect. Doesn't mean it is that, but they seem to connect. So, Ha is an Egyptian god, and he was a god of the western desert and the fertile oasis of the western desert of Egypt. A fertile oasis, a cave of the god Ha. Now, here we go. He was associated with the Duat, the underworld, the netherworld, and is pictured as a man wearing the hieroglyph symbol for desert hills on his head. So come on, guys. So in the word Agartha, you could then split it up. A cave, the underworld of the Duat of Ha. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Ha is the Duat, it's not, but he's associated with it. And I found that fascinating just from Agartha. Surely you can see why I'm excited. So I wanted to ask the AI and things like this, just because I sometimes like to see what they say. And they say, no, the Garden of Eden is not Agartha. Though some later interpretations and theories, particularly within the Hollow Earth mythos, have conflated the two of them, seen as related concepts. Agartha is a legendary subterranean kingdom at the Earth's core, while the Garden of Eden is a biblical paradise. However, the story in The Smoky God, a book that describes Jansen's journey to the centre's interior, identifies the underground world he visited as the original Garden of Eden, and other writers later associated this place with Agartha. So come on, guys, you can just see people are talking about Agartha, and Shambhala is another part of it, with Eden being in a cave. So as we were saying, Adam and Eve left this cave, this sinkhole of paradise, just like those images and clips that you saw, then went to the cave of treasures, to another cave through the tunnels. I just find that fascinating, and hopefully you can see why it's got me excited. So I wanted to look at Eden as etymology, and you know, it's just basically paradise, God's place where the first humans were created according to biblical records. So Eden, as you know, is spelled E-D-E-N. But I can't believe I found this. This is actually give me the chills. And again, this is just my interpretation. I'm playing with words, the spells, the spell chamber. So the letter E comes from the Semitic consonant he, which was derived from an Egyptian hieroglyph of a man with raised arms. Though the Semitic character itself may have originated from a pictograph of a window or a fence, the sound of the letter changed from an H to a vowel sound, and it was adopted by the Phoenicians as the letter he. The Greeks adapted this to the alphabet as the letter epsilon E, giving it a current vowel sound, and this was passed to the Romans and then to the modern Latin alphabet. So just try this at home first before you comment or say anything. So Eden, change the E to a he. Hedon. Does that not sound like hidden? Come on. All these channels and people.
But also the part when you mentioned the man with his raised hands, right? The raised hand part, that reminds me of the squatter man, right? The raised hand plasma would be in the center at the core, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's what's that giving you? That's giving you the squatter man. Yeah, it is the raised arms.
People like to do these words that sound like things and go, look at this, you know, that type of talk. But if the letter E was a he, hidden, that is too close for me. And we'll be talking about Eden being in a cave and Eden being hidden. That makes sense. Right, guys, so what I'm going to show you, again, is just my interpretation of what I've researched. And it's a mind blower if correct. Honestly, when I say it's a huge wow, and all this seems to tie in, you'll go, what the literal F? So as you can see, you've got Noah on the screen. Now, Noah's flood, the Great Flood, is a significant part of history. Nearly enough all cultures around this realm talk about a great catastrophe.
But then before he goes on to this part here, I wanted to say all of the independent thinkers and researchers that I have around me, right? They all seem to see the connection with the cave or hollow earth link, right? I don't really hear them, bragging on about flat earth, flat earth, flat earth. Because they see beyond flat earth. They know flat earth is just a stepping stone. But some people are content with remaining on flat earth, and that's it. Right? We all started somewhere, right? Is what I'm trying to say. And then we expand. It's growth. We research. And then this is what we do. We cover more things. What makes sense?
Water flooding, wiping the planet. Now, I'm talking about us being in a cave within a cave. So all this water, it would be significant in a cave. So I want to look at this verse and just talk you through it on how I see it. So I put two different interpretations on because you get different translations, don't you? They're near enough the same, but some of the wording is different. So in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up and the windows of heaven were opened. Genesis 7:11. So it's basically verse 11. You know this 11, that it's not connected to nothing. Again, let's read the other side. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were open. So we're talking about fountains. Do you remember who is the God of fountains? When I said to you, this reminds me of Adam and Eve, it was Oceanus and Tethys, and she's a god of fountains. So we're talking about, remember the departmentalizing. So this god may have been used in this kind of scenario. Right. So the second month, if I'm, and I am wrong quite a lot, but again, it's just opinion. I have seen in ancient times, the second month of the year was April. Now, April in Latin is Aprilis. Do you want me to blow your mind? So we just talked about the great deep broken up, the windows of the heavens were open, the floodgates, the waters come through. Aprilis is Latin for April. It means to open. Wow. So the name means to open.
That's nice.
We're talking about the floodgates, the windows being opened. That cannot be a coincidence. And also, April, I believe, is named after Aphrodite. So we've got the 17th of April. So let's go back to the image of Oceanus and Tethys. What day do you think, after hearing me this, it's not going to be hard, is a festival to Oceanus and Tethys? I'll stand there, take the plaudits. As you can see, April the 15th to the 17th. So, in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, which is April, to open, you have a feast day, or what is known as Feast of the Seas. It's honouring a god and goddess of Olokun and Yamara, Yorubu or Santeri, and Oceanus and Tethys, all Greek. But people will tell you that's a coincidence. So the floodgates were opened on the 17th day of the second month. It means to open. And then people I'll show you are connected to this somehow. Festival is on the 15th to the 17th. That absolutely just shocked me. I got the chills. I got the surge down my spine. Just wow. So you have that connection with that day, April the 17th, the heavens, the floodgates opening, and there's a ritual to Oceanus and Tethys in that month. That's just wow. So in this section, I just want to share and talk about ancient cosmology, how we live in the firmament. I've done a few videos on that because to me, when you look at these things, it's just representing you are in a cave, you are in a chamber. So I want to go over a few things and hopefully a few more wows just to paint a picture and you say, yeah, I can see your point. I might not agree, but or you might say, yeah, I do agree. But you respect like the research that I've put in to show you this, basically a micro macro type of thing. So as you can see, this is just a normal heaven, the dwelling place of God. The firmament pictures that you find on the internet showing you the Sheol, the pillars of the earth, the pillars of the sky, all held up by rock. So when you start then going into other cosmologies, and you can see them on the left, you'd have seen these for many, many years. It's talking about an enclosed system. On the right is, could we be in a tabernacle? And there is a great mountain. It just looks like a cave formation. So these things.
Well, hold on, let's go back to this because even the ancient depictions, right? Some of them just look like they're showing you, spheres. All right, as you can see, it goes all the way around the north. The Hindus, the Mayans there again, the Greeks. Right. It's like it's a bowl which is filled up halfway, which presents itself as a dome. Right. Like a bowl which is filled up halfway. So you think you're in a dome construct, but it's really a sphere. Right. Maybe inside of the dome, the sphere, there could be a dome. But in its complete entireness, if we're talking about the eye, the globe, yeah, it's a sphere.
There is a great mountain. It just looks like a cave formation. So these things intrigue me. You've also got that we live in God's footstool. So these things intrigue me. So I just want to share and talk about these things for a few minutes. And let's see if it resonates with you. So we'll go to another image. And you can see the foundations of the earth. These rock pillars. The waters above. And the floodgates. It's showing you that these are rock. These are hard. These are firm. So if we're in an enclosed system like a lot of people believe in, and the firmament is made of rock, what does that not basically describe? We're in a huge cave and chamber. Remember, celestial broken down to basically a chamber, a room, a cave, a cellar. Yes, we could be on the earth, but in this enclosed system, in this
Celestial, that's what got us on this journey as well. Well, got myself on this journey, the celestial vault, right? The celestial vault, which was made by Mr. Terrell. That's what got us on this journey, the celestial vault.
cave, or we could be in the Sheol. It's just there for you to ponder on. So this is one of the most famous ones, and the one I really like because it really shows you the floodgates as big blocks of stone. You know, you saw them things like in Baalbek and things. Could they just been what's fell from the sky? They were the floodgates. They were the arch. They were the firmament. And here it shows you the columns of the earth. So if we think, hey, can we find this stuff in caves, but on a micro level? And you can go in many, many caves, even the basic ones, and find images that match the foundations of Earth. Here's one, here's another, and you just get bigger and bigger. Just sharing something out of my mind, like, hey, I mean, even these look like mini mountains. So you get these things in caves that represent what we call on Earth. So if we're in a cave within a cave, but just on a macro level, a bigger cave, things will be bigger formations. Think Monument Valley. Beautiful, always like to go here someday, but hey, can you get that in a cave? And you can get little things similar.
That's tight. I like that. Look at that. Yeah. That's the macro level of what we're seeing within a smaller cave, right? Look at that. Brilliant. The cave.
Not identical, but there will be some identical out there. Formations just representing like Monument Valley. I've talked about these in previous videos. It just likes an eerie Monument Valley scene like this on screen. But when we start to look at things appear in caves, that appear on the bigger cave, the Earth, you've all seen these, I'm sure. If not, they're basically huge stone balls found all around this realm.
Look at this one, though. This one looks weird looking. Strange.
From Europe to Costa Rica and so on. Originally, I thought, could they be ballast stones? You know what they weigh down a ship to make it float better? Could these have been remnants of people in arcs, huge arcs, basically using these as ballast? But as of more and more getting into this cave theory, and here's another image of a huge stone ball found on Earth, and science will say, oh, they're just natural formations. What if these could be found in a cave on a smaller level? So what could they be in caves? Now, I came across these, and they're in various colours depending on the cave. They're called cave pearls. Now, come on. There is no difference between that and what you just saw, just the size. So if you're in a normal small cave, these are what's known as cave pearls. That blew my mind, because this is the things I see and go, hey,
That's good.
they do look like that. It's not it for a fact, but they do look like that. And other channels and other people go through different topics and say, hey, that looks like that, so it must be that. I'm just saying, hey, food for thought. Could these huge balls be cave pearls? And here's some more images. I think this is in California. All these circular stone balls found on beaches. Hey, these are cave pearls found in a cave. What's the difference? Just the size. So if this can happen in a normal smallish cave, if we were in a bigger cave, these formations would be bigger. Just look. What is the difference? There isn't any. That's what blew my mind. So you guys know I love to go what if on a lot of my videos and show you, hey, doesn't this look like that? Like we were just talking about in the last section. So it got me curious. So when we see images like we see on the screen now of the foundations of the earth, the Sheol, the foundations of the heaven, two basically mountains either side, keeping up the firmament. It's basically describing a cave, like I keep getting at, and we could be in any one of the levels. If it's done, it might have even fell through to the Sheol. I don't know. I'm just what if and theorizing on these. So, like I said, it got me curious. Is there huge mountains on this earth? We know of Everest, and then isn't the bigger mountain in the oceans, which is bigger than Everest? But I wanted to go deeper. Now, when we use science, people will go, oh, it's only science, they're lying and different things. But sometimes they're trying to get an agenda. They're trying to tell you something that's hidden in plain sight. A lot of people, a lot of channels still use science as a direction. Hey, this is what science said, but this is what I reckon. Or this science said this. So they use it in their own advantage and disadvantage when they want. So it got me. Hey, have we got huge mountains or foundations under the ground? And I was shocked. Here you go. This is just taken from a news article. Secret mountains. Scientists discovered two giant peaks,
mountain,
100 plus times taller than Mount Everest, but they sit deep beneath the Earth's surface. And I know some people out there are ready to type like this. And they go, oh, well, the Colorado But the cooler bore drill only went 7.2, 7.8 miles down. How did they know? Well, you know what? That's science again. They use seismographs and different types of scans. You can believe it or not, but what the message they're trying to portray is what took me. They're saying two mountains. So could these be the foundations that I'm talking about? And these mountains are 620 miles high.
That's
Leave that with
crazy.
you. 620 miles high. That's what they reckon. So we're not talking about believing in this model or what model. These are said they've done these scans and tests, and that is what they found. I think it's stuff to do with, seismic stuff that wouldn't pass through something, and they measured it, and that's what they're theorizing could be a mountain. Well, this is the question you got to ask. If it is a mountain, it means it's hollow around it, because otherwise it'd just be bedrock, wouldn't it? So this is what got me. There's two mountains, 620 miles high. Everest, as you can see on the screen, is only 5.5 miles high. Wow, they look like big foundations to me. What blew me away. So when we were talking before about the Garden of Eden maybe being in a chamber in a cave, and a lot of people have talked about it way before me. It talks about them four rivers, remember, that flow into Eden. And then I see this article, and I'm just thinking, well, if this is there, could it be other places? And this is what's feeding in underground. Here you go, underground river, Rio Hamza, is named after the person who found it, discovered 4 kilometers beneath the Amazon. Scientists estimate the subterranean river may be 6 kilometers long, 6,000 kilometers long, and hundreds of times wider than the Amazon. So you got huge rivers, huge pillars, foundations in this realm deep beneath us. We're in a cave, we're in a cave, we're in a cave. We're in different levels, different caves, different sinkholes. And this is just something that I find intriguing. So I'll finish this section off with basically how I started it near enough. Oceanus and Tethys. And remember, the serpent, the dragon that's wrapped around her. And I'm like, could that represent the waters of chaos? And they say it's symbolized by a dragon. But look at what dragon they use. Is that not very similar to what is used to represent the water of chaos as a dragon? I'll leave that with you. I find it fascinating. So all these religious overtones that I've talked about over the years came back to me making this video. And I want to start off painting the picture. Some of it is, yes, what if in, and my interpretation being different than others. But this is how I see it. So coming from this verse in Matthew 16:18, and I tell you, you are Peter, which does mean rock, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell should not prevail against it. So are they built it on top of the mountain of sorts, or in a cave, and everything else is below it? Because the word prevail intrigues me. The verb prevail comes from the Middle English prevalen, which was borrowed from Old French prevailer and ultimately from the Latin verb prevaliere, meaning to be strong or powerful or to be superior. So they're basically talking about he wants to be more powerful than hell. The gates of hell should not prevail. So the gates of hell should not be more powerful than basically the rock. And this is what intrigued me. So the Latin root is a combination of prayer, before or in front of, and bellare, to be strong or to have power. In all these depictions, these biblical cosmologies, earth is always above the gates of hell, the Sheol. And I mean, yes, it could be to be stronger than, but it's just giving clues there that, we're above the gates of hell. So all this talk of caves and that got me thinking, and I briefly mentioned it at the beginning about how a lot of channels talk about how there's so many cave systems and how everything is buried, preserved, and there's always sub-levels and sub-levels, and you see it in this Tartary talk because we're in the cave. There's layers of caves, and things just fall through, or we have cave-ins. So this is the famous one in Turkey, and you can see the subterranean, basically subcomplex, bit like what they now call dumps, you know, the deep underground military bases. It's funny that, isn't it? It's like they're telling you, hey, you're dumb for not believing in this cave theory. So this is something I mentioned a long time ago, even before I was talking about the cave, because I found it fascinating, and I'm going to lead into it. So what you're seeing there is what's known as not subterranean, but subterranea, with an E and an A. And what is the meaning of the word
What's the difference?
subterranea? Underground structures. Subterranea are underground structures, both natural, such as caves, and human-made, such as mines and what they're talking about, domes and everything now. So I'm going to connect this.
It's human made, but I'm pretty sure there's some work out there, and it's called Subterranea. Old school, like it must be the oldest Hollow Earth stuff that's out there. If we're talking about cave stuff, right? The old subterranean stuff.
To something that will blow your mind. And I did this years ago, even before I was talking about this cave theory. So something else that I want to tie in to the same is the Sheol. And you can see it's talked about as gates of hell and different things. So the etymology of the Hebrew word Sheol is uncertain, but is generally believed to refer to the realm of the dead in the Old Testament. Some scholars suggest it derives from the Hebrew word she'al, meaning to ask or to inquire, potentially signifying the insatiable nature of the grave. Others propose a connection to the Akkadian roots or the Hebrew root she'al, S-H-L, meaning to be hollow or to be low, according to biblical scholars. To be hollow. Does that not sound like a cave? I've talked about that many times. That blows me away. So what have I connected these two? Well, as you know, they talk about the Bible, about he wanting to build the church on the rock and be the rock. You can't get no bigger than the Vatican. You can't, you know, and all the tales and the conspiracy things that we've been shown to be true over the years, and other ones that have not been proved yet, but we all know and accept, yeah, there's something going on there. So what got me is the Vatican even has caves, but they call them grottos. So it's built on these grottos. The Vatican grottos are a subterranean area beneath the nave of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City, housing the tombs and sarcophagi of numerous popes, including St. Peter, as well as various saints, royals and cardinals. This area also displays ancient relics and features in Clementine Chapel, providing a historical and religious focal point for visitors to explore. So that's even on caves. Now, grotto or grot is a natural or artificial cave or covered recess. Naturally occurring grottos are often small caves near water that are usually flooded or often flooded at high tide. Sometimes artificial grottos are used as garden features. So that's building up this. So these grottos would normally be the location of natural springs. Who's the god of springs again? And were believed to have a unique connection to the divine. With the Christianization of the Roman Empire, most pagan temples that were built in grottos, caves, were covered or converted into Christian churches.
Hey, this cave thing falls into everything, micro to macro. Cave. It's in everything. There's over 30 to 40 million people living in the caves. It's mental. That's in, I think, China, Asia, somewhere, right? 40 to 30 million people living in a cave. Or not a cave, but caves. Plural, right? Mad. What's happening, Noel? How you doing? Happy smooth Sunday to you. Carl, what's happening, Carl? How you doing? Welcome. Peace. Much love. Lay low. You already know, man. Lay low. Yes. We're just going over the Black Sheep Researcher, aka What the Flock, Mr. Paul. Right? He dropped something new the other day, so we're taking it in, right? We're taking it in. because I mean, look, this is the thing with Paul, right? He doesn't even cover the stuff that I cover, right? But he dibbles dallies from time to time. He finds gems and connections that, connect to what I'm looking at, which is the hollowness, right, of the construct. So let's keep going.
So it's all on caves. So this is what got me ages ago, and I've done done videos on them, and I'm showing you, but people won't remember. I nearly forgot, and I'm making this video. So we've mentioned subterranean, and that you can see it was above, and I've mentioned the Sheol, and you can see that I can connect those two words to the Vatican. What would you say to that? You should be bowled away. I was. I'm like,
Go for it.
damn, ages ago. But now when I'm talking about these caves and everything is connected, it just blows me away. So here we go. This is why it's connected. So subterranean, and I found an anagram. And the anagram of subterranean is herbs eterna. And you remember that because people will laugh at my accent. So subterranean, anagram for that is herbs eterna. And an anagram for the Sheol is Holy See. Now, some of you and most of you will go automatically Holy See, yes, the state name, blah, 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 against the Vatican. Anagrams into the Holy See. The actual full anagram is Ye, Y-E, Ye, Sheol. The Sheol. And that's what it is in English, the Sheol. And that blew me away. Now, you might be wondering, what's Herbs Eterna? Well, Herbs Eterna is basically the Latin word for the eternal city. How wild was that? So the eternal city, another name that the Vatican goes by, and means subterranean. You saw what subterranean means? It means cave. Or anything built underneath the ground. So two of the names.
The herbs as well looks like it almost wanted to say orbs, right? Orbs. Turner. I can't really see anything with this at the moment. Turner. Ifana. Nah. Ether. Ether. Holy See. Like when you see vision, right? Vision, sight. Now remember in the other Hollow Earth map that we came across, the C, which would be spelled S-E-A, was spelled S-E-E, right? And that was in the region that looked like it would have been by the lens, right? By the waters of the lens, right? The sea.
And the Holy See are tied to the Sheol, the Holy See, the Eternal City, and Subterranean, all in one. If you're not bowled over by that, I don't know what will. But there you go. I've connected the major names the Vatican uses, and I've tied it 100% to caves and underground systems. Wow. So staying with this religious overtones, this is, and I've got this off the web, so it might not be correct, but it says, awe-inspiring view of the plain in front of the mountain from inside the cave. So this is in regard to Elijah. Now, Elijah encountered significant divine encounters in caves on two main occasions. He prayed in a cave on Mount Carmel before challenging the priests of Baal, and later hid in the cave on Mount Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai, after fleeing from the wrath of Queen Jezebel. The cave on Mount Carmel is a site of pilgrimage and is associated with Elijah's historic confrontation where he called down fire from heaven. Now, think about it. If we're in a cave and we have molten lava everywhere, could it not come from above also in these floodgates? The cave on the Mount Horeb is a crucial location where God spoke to Elijah in a gentle whisper, giving him significant recommissioning according to the Bible. So I want to stay with Elijah. Now, what I'm going to talk about now, I've asked a few people and it could be seen as a stretch. Also a mistranslation, because as you know, the Bible mistranslate some words. Some words and versions will say this, and other versions will say this. So I accept that. But if you accept this version literally, could Elijah have been a Sasquatch?
Whoa.
You might go, damn, Paul, oh, where are you going with this? This is a quirk of how my mind works. When I saw something, I thought, hey, could that be this? So this is the verse. They answered him, he was a hairy man with a leather girdle bound about his loins. And he said, it is Elijah, the Tishbite. 2 Kings 1:8. Now, other things will say, it was like a belt. Now, automatically, you will start to think of a certain someone. Think of someone hairy and a leather belt. And this is why I go on about this, because if you take it literally, he was a hairy man. And I'm going to briefly talk about something else in regard to this. Sasquatch came from the word Saskits. It's a Hakalian word that means hairy man or wild man, and is the origin of the term Sasquatch. My phone goes off there, which refers to a Bigfoot-like creature from North American folklore. Canadian journalist J.W. Burns coined the Anglicised term Sasquatch in the 1930s. He basically mispronounced it. So Sasquatch came from Saskits. Now, in this program I was watching talking about Saskits, and it wasn't a Sasquatch program, they basically talk about how the Saskits came from caves in the mountains. So, you can see why I'm talking about it. So I can't prove this. It's labelled as this on the internet. But again, that's the internet. These are depictions of Elijah. There you go. Now, hairy man. Was he literally hairy? Was he like them carnival show things, the hairy men? Was he like that?
Have a look at that in all its glory. Have a look. What a life. What a life to live like that. Interesting life. Interesting life.
Or could he have been a Saskit, a Sasquatch? So other depictions are on the left. That's another so-called depiction of him. Now, he was a hairy man with a leather belt. Automatically got my brain going, hey, he sounds like the Wookiee. He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's just where my head was at. So I thought, yeah, it could be literally. They just call him hairy because he was wearing a hairy cape. And it could be that. I'm not denying that. But how they state it, would you go too much about, he's wearing a hairy cape are normal at the time. Oh, God, the guy's hairy. It seems too profound, like they're emphasising on it. He was a hairy man. So was he a Sasquatch, a Saskits? I'll put an image of a Saskits, which is a Sasquatch, which is a Bigfoot. Was he a Bigfoot? Now you might be thinking, come on, Paul, that's taking it too far, but I'm just literally taking off it. Now, as you know, Sasquatches, and this is just off the internet, they say are not a proven species. I do believe in them, but I'm not triggered when people say they don't. Now, they say reported encounters and fictional portrayals often depict them as super fast, with estimates suggesting top speed of 30 to 40 miles an hour, sometimes a little bit faster. Though their ability to sustain this speed is unknown.
30 to what? 40 what per hour? What? That's some good speed right there for a big fella. Right? For a big fella, that's some good speed right there. Yeah, you better keep your distance from people like that. Yeah. They'll catch you easily. Especially some of you guys out there. I know you're a bit, slow on your toes, carrying that daddy weight, a bit podgy and that. You don't want to get caught by Chewbacca now. 30 to 40 miles per hour. Come on, let's have it right. Some of you folks are getting catched. You're getting catched.
Speed combined with their large size could make them dangerous and challenging to escape from an encounter. So we're talking about a hairy man who is fast. Now we talked about Elijah. Did you know Elijah is known as the fastest man in the Bible? I didn't. the prophet was super speed. And they got this from a verse, 1 Kings 18:46, and the Lord's hand, and the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he girdled up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. So basically, like the image, he beat chariots to that location. So chariots, you would say, on a decent stretch, would go 20, 30, 40 miles an hour of sort. So he beat that in a foot race, giving him super speed. Wow. So we're talking about a hairy man with super speed. So if I just drop myself into a Bigfoot, place with people talking and say, hey, so we're talking about a hairy man with super speed, they would go Bigfoot. And you can just see where my mind goes. And I thought that was fascinating, these connections. And again, I'm not saying he is that, but I'm just using interpretations and depictions of him being hairy all over like a Bigfoot, and he had super speed. So to finish this section, I've talked about the Sheol, and I've talked about Subterranea, all tied into anagrams of the Vatican. But this is, again, this could be seen as a stretch. I do get that. Again, it's just an anagram. The word, the Great Deep. So I anagrammed that, and there's various different ones of them. But what got my attention was the one at the bottom here, gathered peat. Again, as we know, peat from Peter means rock. So an anagram of the Great Deep means gathered rock. Wow. And the adjective gathered comes from the Middle English word gadaran, meaning to collect or assemble, which in itself derives from the Old English gadaran or rean. The Old English verb is rooted in the Pro-West Germanic gadron, and sounds like Lord of the Rings character there, and the Proto-Indo-European, the Pi root, gied, signifying unity, assembly, or joining. So it's talking about assembling and gathering rocks together. I mean, that could be anything, couldn't it? A cave, an artificial cave, anything. Structures under the ground, but you're bringing together all the rock. And I just found that was something fascinating to end this on. Again, just a little bit of a stretch to some, but they're interesting links and shows you the craziness of my mind, from Elijah being in a cave, being seen as a hairy man, and associate hairy man to Saskets and Sasquatch and super speed. I just thought that was a little bit of fun to put in this video for you guys. So I want to throw out a weird fact as I'm making this. I wanted to share with you. So let's guess at home. I didn't never got this, but that's not saying much, is it? So this is just an image of like cave dwellings in China. So how many people do you think still today are classed as living in cave dwellings in China? So, I'll give you a few seconds as I'm talking. How many do you think? 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 11,000, 100,000? What do you think is the number? They say, if you can search in engineer, it'll give you this exact figure. How many do you think? So, I was blown away by this. The actual figure is 30 to 40 million people in China still live in caves.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
30 to 40 million people living in caves in China. Brilliant.
With me saying we're all living in a cave, people are still living in caves, and that's just in China. So it makes you think, am I stark raving loony? Quite possibly. I'm just taking over an old theory that's been going on for centuries, the hollow earth theory of us being in a cave.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right, Paul. I think it's time we gave it more attention, right? This hollow earth stuff deserves more attention, right? There's more leads to this hollow earth stuff. You had a few admirals making claims to this hollow earth stuff. Not just one, Admiral Ebird, but you had a few of them that made claims to the hollow earth. Now, whether you know, they're a part of this big psyop stuff, but that's a big claim to make. That is a pretty big claim to make, right? I'm not talking about the sportsmen, the entertainment system, Hollywood, and these, you know, rappers, Bob, and all these people that come out and say stuff like, "Yeah, the Earth is flat." Yeah, we know to a degree, Earth is flat. We live it. We live it. We know what we live, right? But the construct being hollow, that's the part, right? That's the part they got you on. You've got Obama coming out here talking about we ain't got time for the flat Earth society. Me and Michael have been thinking about trying for a new baby. You've got rappers talking about flat Earth. You've got basketball players talking about flat Earth. You've got movies, but like actors talking about flat Earth. It's not what they say, it's what they show you. All the while they're talking about flat Earth, but they're showing you hollow Earth, right? They're showing you hollow Earth, but talking about flat Earth. Bit like Bro Sanchez. Bit like Bro Sanchez and them folks. Forcing flat Earth down your throat, right? So I think it's time that we brought back the teachings of hollow Earth, right? And not only that, when you start researching into the hollowness of things, you start going down different avenues, and hey, it is what it is. It paints a different picture, right? It blows flat Earth out of this water.
Cave, it falls through, or we extend, and it just keeps getting bigger. It's just a thought, it's just an idea. You could even call them portals when you go through, whatever you want to call them. Like the ancient Nords, how they went to different realms. Could it have just be different caves? So it's a crazy theory, but I was blown away by that figure. 30 to 40 million people still today living in a cave. Just makes you think, doesn't it? So I've talked about what I'm going to talk about for a while in other videos when I'm talking about the caves. I've asked, could we be in a geode? And I'll get into that a bit and show you the connections I've found on that, and see if it's hopefully food for thought. So I want to start with this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. So again, it's showing you the two doorposts, the doorway, the heaven. And as you know, or you might not know, depending on how new you are to the channel, John is a derivative of Janos, who's the god of doorways. So it happens a lot, and this bit got me intrigued. So, like I was saying, are we living in a geode? And what's funny about John is, it's not a coincidence because it's reported fact. John got his visions for the book of Revelation, supposedly in a cave. And I'll show you an image on screen. So keep that in thought. And the verse, John 1:1, we'll go back to it and show you the connections, but what you're seeing on the screen looks familiar. Now I'm going to put an image of a geode. You know, it could be any type of geode. Can you see where I'm getting from? Now what you've just saw then,
Yeah.
a man in a geode sitting there. Again, in the cave, in a geode. Could we be in a geode? So I've done this, I think, in some more videos. So let's look at the etymology of the word geode. And you can see various things. GE meaning earth. So basically it just means earth or earthy. You can just see from the screen. So there's nothing unusual, but it means earth, the realm that we are in. But, and here's another but, we're talking about God and geode. An old way of saying God was goad. Gode. Come on, that is not far off. Geode. Remember G, earth, goad. Goad is an inflected form of the word God, found in Old English and Old Norse, where it refers to the deity. While the root word for God is of uncertain Germanic origin, the word goad or gode can also refer to the adjective good in Old Norse and other Germanic languages. So, geode, goad, not far off it. So, as you know, geode, GE part of it means basically earth. So I wanted to see if I could find anything interesting on ode. And most of you might know this, but it basically means it's like a song or a chant or a lyric. You can just see it on screen. I've just put it comes from the Greek word aidein or something like that. I can't pronounce that, but it means to sing or to chant, or it's like a lyric. Let's go back. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So, God and the Word. Geode, earth, and lyric or song. Earth song, but also God is God. So, geode could, in my head, talk about God's song, God's word, God's lyric. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. John 1:1. So, here is another image of a geode, and it reminds me of another Nordic thing. You know, when they talk about the realms, the different types of realms, and I've talked about in this video, could we be in a cave within a cave? Can you see my point? Can you see what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
Each knot or node or whatever they're called in these geodes could be a realm, and they connect.
And that also reminds me of like the craters on the moon, right? That I'm getting the crater vibe. When I see things like this, it reminds me of craters on the moon.
When the ceilings cave in, or the tunnel, or we have caves, basically interconnecting all of these things. I'll put a bigger one on for you, so you can see my point. Just think of, say, at the top left, that's the realm that they called Earth. Could the one underneath be Sheol, and other words? See what my point? Words, worlds. And what is the difference between word and world? Is an L. Just the L, but not the same as a L as Elohim, God of different worlds and words. So just think about that, and remember John 1:1 in the beginning. Remember, in the beginning was the Word, and that was John 1:1. Well, if you look at masonry, look at the set and compass. They say the G stands for Great Architect. But what if it's showing you we are in a geode? Because look, it's an enclosed system. Most listening today will acknowledge, most of us believe we're in an enclosed system. Could that, what we're seeing on the screen, represent an enclosed system? The G for the geode, and the blue, the sky, or the holy waters all around us.
I like that.
The Sheol. And when you look into the set and compass, and I've talked about this in the video, this is not mine that I'm going to show now, I've just found it on the webs. But I've showed you the angles of the set and the compass together add to 137, which is an 11. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. John 1:1 and 11. You have the fine structured constant, I think it is, that they say the world is everything in the universe is come from. And you have here creation number 137, the moment of choice. And they show you different things. That the universe that I've showed in videos is 13.7 billion years old, that 11. And you can just see, wow. So, could we be in the 11th realm? I don't know. But I've talked about how we're in the realm of 11. Because all these 11 seem to match up, but it also matches up to geode and different things like this that I've showed you on the screen. So could we, as I'm talking about being in a cave, could it just be this geode, the Word of God? What say you? So you just saw my weird connection with Freemasonry and the geode and God. I thought it was cool. It intrigues me. It makes me want to look at things a little bit differently. And if I didn't have done that, I would have never found what I'm just going to show you now. So it goes in hand how my brain works. And this, to me, with that they're just wow. They're showing you the importance of the cave, that we could be in a cave or a geode or a room or a chamber, whatever you want to call it. So what you're seeing on the screen is Zebediah's cave. It's in Jerusalem, but it's also known by another name. Yep, you got it. It's King Solomon, but also it's known as the Freemasons' Hall. Members of the Freemason Society number among the many European tourists and visitors who have come to see the cave after it was rediscovered in the winter of 1854. The Freemasons regard King Solomon as the first biblical Freemason, and since the cave was popularly reviewed as the quarry used by King Solomon in the building of the first temple, the Freemasons have held their traditional ceremonies during the past century in the main chamber of the cave. So they have an association with caves that I never knew. I know some societies did satanic rituals and other sex acts and things in caves, but not when you just look at the Freemasons solely on their own. And you can see on the screen they found Zebediah's cave, and it's believed to be the location of the quarry for King Solomon. Now, when they're doing the rituals in the cave, and here's an example on the screen, it shows them doing an actual ceremony in the caves that they have been doing for centuries or a century. Now, they mark the location with these weird things on the floor. Come on, you saw the video so far. These, to me, are representing cave pearls. Come on. This, to me, is... I can't believe it. So they're just marking the location for a ritual, and they use all these balls or stones or whatever they are. To me, they are just showing you cave pearls. That absolutely blew my mind. And it doesn't stop there, guys. It's not just in Jerusalem. You can just type it in and find it everywhere. They're using caves for ceremonies. And there's a secret I did not know. Masonic cave degrees. They have a degree called cave degree.
Woo! Cave degree. Cave degree. That's a new one for you folks, right? Master Mason degree. Cave degree. Different. That's different. Nice one, Paul. What do you guys really think about this cave stuff? Right? What's your thoughts on it? I want to know after this. Salute to the chat room.
Wow. So Masonic cave degrees are a form of Master Mason degree, the third and highest symbolic degree, performed in a natural cave setting rather than a traditional log room. These events are optional, often held by a lodge, and involve setting up the space to resemble a lodge room using items like candles for lighting. Notable examples occur in areas near Mammoth Cave, Kentucky, and in Tennessee, but they go everywhere. They've held these rituals in caves for God knows how long. And look, a G right in the center, just looking like a homemade geode. This has literally left me speechless. I've been talking about caves and Freemasons, obviously, with the stone and the rock tied to being a Mason. And now they have an actual degree called a cave degree. Just wow. Hopefully you guys can see why I'm excited about this video and these things that I'm putting in. They're showing you the importance, why it's so important about this cave, because we live in a cave, a chamber, a geode. So hello. Some of you might think, yay, he's back. I'm not back, guys. Well, I am, and I'm not. I'm not coming back like I was. I won't be posting regular. Just every now and again, I'll post a video because, hey, my brain doesn't turn off even though I'm just having a chill.
Nice one, Paul. He said, hey, I'm back. Well, I'm not back. I just come back to give you a taste, but my brain keeps on working, so, his brain keeps on going. Hey, I know that feeling, bro. I really do. I know that feeling.
It doesn't turn off, and when something falls into your lap, an idea, I love the process of making a video. That is when I'm at my happiest.
That's it. Tell them. Spoken like a true content / researcher. Spoken like a true content slash researcher. That's my boy.
I love making videos. I don't like posting them. I don't like the reactions they get. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just one of those people who are like an antisocial social mediaist. I've always said it. I just can't get my head around how people react to videos when you say, "Hey, this I'm just asking a what if." And they're like, "Oh, the devil spawn" and all this weird shit. Come on, guys. We know people in this community, which
Yeah.
it's not even a community, but they're paranoid as.
Yeah. And Paul, you got to remember, we're not part of the community. We are independent researchers, right? We're independent researchers. Every now and again, I do a little social experiment where I have a look around in that community and I do clippings from time to time. But we are independent researchers. We are not part of the circle, the social circle. Okay? We're independent researchers. Let's keep going.
Shite. Yeah,
The shite.
and how they treat people who make content, I've not missed that. So I'm only coming back to, sporadically post videos. I don't. It might be one a month, one every two, I just don't know. When I get an idea, I just love that process of creating, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Hopefully you don't take it as a slight. I don't mean it in that way. I just want to look after myself. I want to bring the smiles and happiness back because I was getting too involved. I was letting things get to me, even though on the outer I would say I'm not. But hey, subconsciously sometimes things get to you, and I just thought, I have to just walk away. And people have reached out and said, "Don't go," you'd be a loss to the community, and it's, you know what, that has got me through a lot of it. I'm just, like I was saying, I'm the anti-social social media. So I've just never got my head around that aspect of it. I love creating the videos. I like researching it. And if I'm spending hours researching when I can, putting it into a video, it would be pointless not to post it, would it? So that is what's going on. So I thank everyone who's carried on watching the content and the comments and the love. I really, truly do appreciate it. You don't, know how much it keeps you going. And here's just a continuance of my caveman theory and some of the ideas that I've put in this. Some of it, yes, they're from previous videos over the years, but some of it is new. And as a package, it's blew me away. Yes, some of them are at a stretch, and you might think I'm bonkers, but that's just how my brain thinks. I'm probably too innocent in the sense of, hey, it's like just me and you talking, walking down to the shops or sitting around a campfire or just chatting on the phone or something. And you go, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I go, hey, well, what if this? And that's just how I work. And I'm not going to change for anyone. If you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. It's as simple as that. You know,
Yo. Hold on. I gotta wheel that up. Hold on, Paul. Oh no, oh shit,
I'm
hold on a
here to do.
second. That was cold. Oh shit, I ain't said this in a long time, but 420 if you got that shit.
And that's just how I work. And I'm not going to change for anyone. If you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. It's as simple as that. I'm here to
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh man. Oh jeez, I love it. Let's keep going.
do what I love doing. And if you take offense to that, that's your problem. And again, that's something else that I was trying not to do. I was trying to accommodate everyone. And in trying to accommodate everyone, you forget the important process of it is you. You can't help other people. You can't come up with these things and not be looking after yourself. I was given that away, and now I'm getting more time to just do nothing, and I'm enjoying it. Being more time with the family, which I've loved, and that's what I'm not going to give. I'm just going to stay doing what I'm doing because I'm not doing this for the money. It'd be great if it was full time, but then again, that would be more pressure on me. And for anyone that's listening, I'm not going anywhere. but I'm just not posting like I was. I won't be doing a video every week or doing lives. I'm not. I'm walking away for now to all that. Not like I got many people asking me for the video, but hey, I always say never. So there'll be a time when I might come back to do them things, but in the meantime, you'll just have to put up with me content. So this is just a continuance of my cave theory, and it was about caved in, and it's basically summarizing. Hey, if we were in a cave or a geode and the ceiling's caved in, is this what we live in? I mean, in other videos, I've showed how the big mountains that people refer to as giant trees, could they be stalagmites and stalagmites? And the columns, and they've broken, the foundations. In this video, you saw me showing you possibility foundations, the great rivers. There's loads I've put into this that, should be food for thought. And hey, you guys think, hey, you've got a point there, showing you why caves are so revered in religion. I've only scratched the surface. I did a wacky thing, and you might think I'm bonkers about Elijah being a Bigfoot, but just look at some of the saints over the years looking like Klingons and different things. There's some crazy shit that's going on. And if a guy was hairy and super speed, when you're in the Bigfoot community and the cryptozoology, you can't help think of a hairy man and a Bigfoot. So that's why I was just asking this. And there'd be other tales in the Bible. So that was just what intrigued me. And as you know, over the years, and various indigenous groups have talked about people coming from caves. Not just the ant people like the Native Americans who came out to help them, but they talk about the ancestors once lived underground and were led to the service by heroes. The other ones have talked about how, the myths of emergence that describe the people coming from caves to a new world. And that's just what's intriguing me, because if we've all come from cave to cave, just like the story of Adam and Eve coming from Eden, that some are saying is in a cave, and moved to another geode, another cavity, another cave. It makes sense, doesn't it? Just like the recent films of Godzilla and King Kong about an underworld, a hollow earth. Well, that's what it is, a hollow earth. We're in Earth. The G stands for geode, Earth. And seeing all the links to gold and things like that, it just blew me away. And the Freemasons having a special cave degree, it's mind-blowing when you start, just leave all the pre-thoughts and
Yeah, the cave degree, that blew my mind. I've never heard of that one before. Cave degrees. Cave degrees, Paul? Really? That is crazy. Crazy work. Cave degrees. Wow.
what you thinking of over the years and being bullied into thinking something because you didn't want to be left out. We've all been there. And I'm just taking a step back and saying, hey, that rings a bell. It sounds like we're in a cave. When they're shooting rockets to the firmament and the moon rang like a bell. Well, we're hollow. We're in a chamber. And I've done.
Yeah, that's the same with the moon. That's what I said, right? They don't want you talking about the moon, right? Because, like I said, when you start talking about the moon, you start going into the hollowness of it. You start to research what the hollowness, and then it leads you into the hollow earth talk, right? It's very thin ice, that one right there. Very thin ice. Hollow moon leads to hollow earth, leads to the hollow construct, aka cave.
Loads of videos in this cave series, and I didn't just want to rehash that and put it in here. I wanted to talk about different things like I have. And it's a mind blower. It really is a mind blower that we could, because flat earth, concave, convex, donut, whatever you want, toroidal, anything you want can all create an earth, because that's what people do. They message me and go, hey Paul, check that out. Well, okay, I will, but go and message them and tell them to check my channel out, because we're all here saying, hey, and it's always seems the case. I'm getting told to check this out when are you going to tell them to check me out?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Check you.
Yeah, I hear you there, bro. Yeah, tell them to check me out. Yeah, we the big dogs right now, right? Check us out. Facts.
chats and things like that. We're all here together, and that's the beauty of this cave theory. I broke down the word celestial to show that we're in a cave, we're in a chamber, we're in a cellar, we're in a room, and then you can interpret that anything you want. You have the cave of treasures, you have Plato's cave. You go on, links to the underworld, a transitional space. You know, God appeared to loads of people in caves from St. John onwards. And it's like, hey, that's just showing you the significance of caves and why, if it's just a lonely old cave. People in China, 30 to 40 million people still living in caves, and that's just in China. And we're all thinking we've evolved and you have evolution and it's all this. And it's like, hey, you know, we're just cavemen after all. And that would be the ironic nature of it, wouldn't it? And hopefully you guys can see my excitement, because I get excited about posting these things. I can't hold my water. I tell people around me all the time, hey, this is what this video is going to be about and different things. And that's just the way I am. I want to share everything. I want you experience the excitement that I feel when I find a connection, the goosebumps, the hair on my neck tingle. And I'm like, wow, could this be? And when you see these connections, and that's how we all see this realm, we all see in our own eyes. But there's no harm in enjoying someone else's view of the world and then saying, hey, this is what I see. Let's compare. You know, and all these different realms that people talk about fit a chamber, a room, from simulation, like a holodeck, to flat, to concave, to donut, all them fit within a cave, because you can get all templates of those models in a cave, and that's the beauty of it. So guys, hopefully you will carry on what you're doing, enjoying the content, enjoying the new videos when they come up. Not to be rude, but I won't be doing any shows or anything. I've just enjoyed being myself. And again, I'm not what you call a sociable person. I'm just a hermit in a cave. I just like being around my family. I like having my own thoughts. That's just how I am. You know, I'm probably on the autistic spectrum. You know, if anyone's not noticed, that's just how I am. I've never been one for being around people, and I have a weird sense of, you know, morals and that, and I'm trying to portray my morals on other people, and that's just why I've never really gone out there, because you see different people and channels and how they are, and it's just, you know, I can't be bothered. I'm a low maintenance type of person. I just can't be bothered. I just like doing what I want and when I want. So guys, you really have kept me going with your comments. Again, I will be here, but just not as much. You know, I've enjoyed it. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, Caved In. If you want to help me in the channel, all help is truly appreciated. You can do so by just like, sharing, and subscribing. And also, if you want to help it more, you can always buy me a coffee, which is buy me a bar. The barcode is on the screen. All help is truly appreciated, and it all keeps us going. So much love, guys. Thank you for being you. And I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Just enjoy. Bye, guys.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Paul. Cheers, man. Right in there. Okay. Yeah, that was Paul, Mr. Black Sheep Researcher. Oh, brilliant. Left out on a bang, you could say, right? With the cave theory. That was some good shit there, man. I appreciate that, Paul. Good stuff. Good stuff. But at least I can say I got to build with him before we hit the road, right? I've done a few shows with him before we hit the road, so I'm grateful for that. Very grateful. Cheers, Paul. Appreciate the gems you dropped. Appreciate that. Good stuff. What's this? Yeah, about the new video listen today. I think I may have seen that one. Is it with the old boy and the plasma, talking about the plasma? Yeah, that one's quite interesting, but I think he may be off. he may be a bit off. If it's that same old boy, he may be a bit off. It's definite. So yes, the K theory, that's it's a big one. It's a big one, and I rock with it. Micro to macro, right? Micro to macro. The cave plays its part in everything. Some people just see a cave and they think, oh, it's dark, I don't want to go in there. Creatures will be in there. You're damn right. It's an ecosystem. It's an extension of what we don't get to see. I'd love to go in the cave. I really would. Not to live, obviously, but just to explore. Just to explore the cave. See what's down there, right? See what's down in the cave. 40 million people still living in caves in China. 40 million. Get about it. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's like 7 times of people over here. Like 7 times. 7 times. Damn. That's wild. Yeah, those numbers are crazy. And that's just on a micro level, right? That's only on a micro level. But yeah, it's interesting. Shadow and Light in the building. How you doing? Leafy in the building. Much love. Manny in the building. Kyle in the building. Noah in the building. Bex in the building. CC in the building. Hope you lot are well. I hope you lot are well. Where we are? Hour 30. I won't even take anything away from. Well, there's a few things I wanted to show, but I'll do that next time. Maybe I should do it on the rebuttal bar. Yeah, I won't even hold you folks any longer. It's a Sunday. I know you've got things to do. You got things to do. I got work tomorrow. I gotta get to it. Get my packed lunch prepared and that type of stuff, you know. But yes, for those of you who ain't up to speed, I done something with Daydreamers yesterday. You may want to check that out. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Finally got Daydreamers on, so yeah, 1 point for London. 1 point for London. Good stuff. You've been making dinner. So I had my dinner already, but I could do with round 2. I could do with round 2. I really could. Hit the round 2. I only like some people in small doses. Yeah. Right. That's it. Small doses, that's good enough. Alright, well, let me get out of there. Let you people crack on with it. Oh, is that the dream from yesterday? Yeah. Okay, brilliant. That's the link from yesterday. London meets Gin Dreamers. Right, it's right there on the screen. Thank you, CC. So yeah, if you're not up to speed, go and check that out. And that was something like, right, that was something like, got much more stuff to show, got much more stuff to discuss. So yeah, hopefully we get around to part 2. There you go. Good stuff. Most definitely. Most definitely. There's a few other people I wanted to pick their mind. I've reached out to some people, so just waiting on a feedback. But yeah, we'll get to that part. But you already know the motto, folks. You know the motto. Look after yourself. Love over war. London.